This is the RPGamer Switch impression and video review of Hero U Rogue to Redemption. Reviews written by Anna-Marie Privateer and Michael Baker. Narration by Anna-Marie Privateer. As the PC version of Hero U Rogue to Redemption has been available since 2019, this video impression is first going to focus on the Nintendo Switch port. Ports of PC-style RPGs have been slowly but surely creeping onto the Nintendo Switch since the launch, with both successes and failures. Translating a mouse-driven game to a controller experience brings with it a variety of challenges, including the expectations of the users. Thankfully, Hero U Rogue to Redemption manages to make the jump with an excellent agility stat and good climbing skill. In terms of what's changed for the Nintendo Switch version, all content remains the same, including numerous bug fixes and balance changes introduced for the PC version since its launch in 2018. Players will have just 50 days to grow Sean from a deadbeat thief into a heroic rogue, and players can expect to invest around 12 to 15 hours per playthrough. One sadly missed opportunity in the new Switch version is a lack of any sort of tutorial. Hero U throws players straight into a lake of mystery and intrigue and expects swimming to kind of simply happen. For Quest for Glory veterans, this isn't a tough task, but for those new to the series or even to the genre, it's pretty daunting, and getting used to the game's time mechanics has a steep learning curve. However, once things get going, any lack of prior experience with the Quest for Glory series is really not an issue. Another overlooked quality of life feature is a lack of ongoing actions. Not being able to hold down a button to have Sean continue to walk down a hallway, or being unable to simply hold left or right to spin the wheel on a trap puzzle is a strange choice, more puzzling than the Houdini lock. Performance-wise, Hero U is one of the rare PC to Switch ports that actually works better in handheld mode. When outside of the Switch dock, the game feels smooth and fits perfectly with on-the-go gameplay. While playing on a television, there's a slight sluggishness to the game that crops up after certain actions, such as moving to new zones during specific times of the day. In both docked and handheld modes, there's also a slight delay in when Sean loads into a new region of the castle and when the player can actually begin performing actions, such as moving and or interacting with objects in the immediate area. While these are perceptible issues not to be dismissed out of hand, none of them are deal breakers, even when taken as a whole. And let's face it, anyone who is willing to wait multiple years for the hope of a console launch can find ample enjoyment in the Switch port, especially for those who prefer to brandish a dagger in handheld mode. And now, on to the review itself. Hero U Rogue to Redemption does not try to hide its connections to the Glory games, which go deeper than some name-dropping and in-jokes. Previous characters of importance are memorialized as statues through the old castle that houses the newly christened Hero University, and a few characters even have direct canon connections to earlier games. More interesting is that Hero U treats the Rogue questline of the Glory games as its primary canon, and even continues the Blackbird storyline. Our sort of hero of the hour is Sean O'Connor, a red-headed ne'er-do-well from the city of Calignia on the Isle of Sardonia. On his first foray into thievery, he's caught by a mysterious stranger and convinced that what that man offers is preferable to the jail time he's about to glean. This is how Sean becomes the sixth and final member of Hero U's unofficial Rogues classroom, a section of the curriculum so secret that they go undercover even in their own school as part of their training. As far as the other students are concerned, they are Bard students who nearly washed out of the program and are getting a second chance. Only the main faculty is aware of the class's dual nature, and not all of them are happy about it. As befits an adventure RPG, the story is both central and, oddly, avoidable. Time marches along a set calendar of the school year, with certain story arcs opening or closing according to the calendar date. However, since it all takes place at a school for heroes, even somewhat disreputable ones, it's possible for all the secondary story arcs to be completed without Sean's assistance, as classmates take it upon themselves to rid the school of pests, search for treasure, or lead rescue attempts, which may not be successful. All the major characters are well written, with clear voices that set their personalities, and the shenanigans that ensue tend to grow naturally from the students' personal goals. Sean may be the protagonist of the game, but his classmates are very much the heroes of their own stories as well. Much like its Quest for Glory predecessors, Hero U does not use the standard experience level scheme. Instead, all ability and skill scores are raised through good, dishonest work, either individually or paired depending on the activity chosen. For example, it's a good idea to hit those barbells early to raise fitness, which in turn affects health and stamina, though regular old exercise through fighting can raise fitness, combat defense, and throwing depending on how the player goes about it. Likewise, it pays to do your homework every evening before bed, or to practice all of your roguish skills whenever possible. Listening at doors, tossing darts, sneaking around the dean so he doesn't notice a lack of school uniform, or simply picking every lock that presents itself is totally okay and encouraged. Time management is an important skill for the player, as Hero U strongly resembles Japanese-style school sim RPGs. Story characters change location depending on the time of day, and the best adventuring is done after hours in the evening. At certain points in the school year, Sean can either choose elective courses allowing him to pick up useful tricks, or he can use that free time to flex his roguish muscles. It's up to the player to prioritize and plan, as Sean would much rather sleep whenever possible. Of course, it wouldn't be a roguish RPG without some dungeoneering, and Hero U provides. Aside from the school itself, there are 4 areas beneath it to explore, scavenge, and rid of the myriad of monsters. They're not necessarily large areas, but they were designed with adventure-style exploration in mind, with multiple secrets, skill gating, and plot elements to discover. With the exception of certain specific encounters, defeat in battle sends Sean back to the infirmary for some patching up. And the bad ending art for those encounters is worth seeing at least once, just for the laughs. Hero U features an all-new combat system, which is good, and it seamlessly incorporates the roguish sensibilities of the main characters, which is better. While it is turn-based and tactical in nature, the player can take advantage of enemies not noticing a sneaky hero, effectively allowing Sean to creep around and avoid enemies, snipe them from a distance with throwing knives, or simply stalk them for a close-in kill from behind. Given how easy it is to overcome a rogue's defenses when the enemies gang up on him, it makes sense to allow options to cut and run, lay down traps, glue, or even snare runes, or to simply duck and run. In fact, cunning rogues can get the school's resident paladin to do their dirty work for them and conquer very specific bosses. While perhaps counterintuitive to someone used to the simple and direct confrontations of past Quest for Glory games, having many options jives both well with Hero U's tone and its roots in the adventure genre. Graphically, the game harkens back to its roots even as it makes use of modern 3-dimensional modeling, getting the better of both worlds with richly detailed backdrops full of little things to examine, as well as character models that are reasonably well articulated. In a perfect world, there would have been even finer detail on the various motions. It's easy to tell what characters are doing at a glance. Character portraits, on the other hand, are pretty old school, drawn instead of rendered, with enough variation for everyone to have a strong range of emotions to draw from. Various scenes have splash arts, including all the different ways for Sean to get eaten by monsters. The musical score also sticks to the tradition of classic Sierra games by focusing more on the atmosphere of the school as opposed to booming, scene-stealing numbers, though with a few exceptions. Any scene involving a kraken and a cadre of zombie pirates deserves the coolest music the developers can muster. Composer Ryan Grogan did a great job on this one, and the boss battles in particular, with an interesting mix of folk, classical, and heavy rock elements, does pretty much slap. That being said, the game definitely has an occasional rough edge. Many reasons are given to help explain the fact that all but one of the school's non-rogue students are seen mostly in splash art, and the relative emptiness of the school halls is a little eerie at times. There's at least one dropped plot thread and a few others which don't necessarily end to the player's satisfaction. Also, the game could have really used some way of keeping track of which characters were where, at least during the day. In the end, while Hero U Rogue to Redemption couldn't get everything absolutely perfect, no game ever really does. Instead, it got a whole lot of things just right, which was enough to counterbalance most of the issues. I am really looking forward to seeing what the Coles do with their next endeavor in the Rogue world. We give Hero U Rogue to Redemption a 4.0 out of 5. Curious how we come to these scores? Check out RPGamer.com for all of our review definitions. Thanks for checking out the Hero U Rogue to Redemption review. Are you planning on picking up the game on PC? Perhaps on Nintendo Switch? Let us know in the comments below.